In today's news, hospital pharmacy temporarily closed. Officials say it is customary and not COVID related.
And Premier Fahie aims to leave no one unfed during the Christmas period with his Christmas Extravaganza, which will be in all 9 districts.
The Social Security and NHI offices are closed until Wednesday. Cases allegedly detected among staff. The officials are yet to make a statement.
And the BVI recently experienced within a 7-day period 3 or more cruise vessels docked in the territory at once, for the first since the resumption of cruises to the BVI. And we also see 500 plus residents in the East End community benefiting from a recent Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Christmas initiative. But we get to these and more stories when 284 News return.
You value traditions.
Today,
You value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Friday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. We're coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Not only a happy Friday to you, but a happy Christmas Eve. We hope that each of you are doing very well. Beginning on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands, in a recent public advisory, the British Virgin Islands Health Services Authority announced the temporary closure of the pharmacy at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital. The temporary closure begins today, December 24th to 29th. Now, our newsroom reached out to marketing and communications personnel at the state-owned institution who said, and I quote, that the closure is customary and it is not COVID related. They just wanted persons to be aware of that. They also took the time to apologize for any inconvenience caused. Now, in addition, and speaking of closures, the Social Security office and NHI officers issued a statement to clients. The release stated, and I quote, the British Virgin Islands Social Security Board and National Health Insurance would like to inform the public that our offices will be closed until further notice. The advisory further asks the public to monitor their social media accounts and website for further updates. Now, efforts once again to reach officials on the matter at the Social Security Board were unsuccessful. Staff within the agency have confirmed that some 5 cases have been detected among staff. You would remember that we reported yesterday that staff were seen outside the Social Security Board waiting to be tested for COVID-19. In addition to that, the earlier and first initial response was that the office would be closed until 12 noon yesterday. However, that has been extended until Wednesday.
Well, viewers, moving on, where Premier Andrew Fahie says he will be working with all district and at-large representatives during the Christmas period to ensure that no mouth in the BVI is left unfed with his Christmas and his Culture and Tourism Christmas Extravaganza, which is scheduled for tomorrow, December 25. Well, Premier Fahie made the comments during a recent virtual session of the House of Assembly, where he revealed that the event will run from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. throughout each of the 9 districts. Take a listen.
I also want to say that in all 9 districts, your Premier working with the 4 at large and each district representative will be hosting a cultural and tourism Christmas extravaganza in food and in music. So I'll be giving out the schedule tomorrow of each district where you can go and make sure from 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. from District 1 to 9, all the districts. And I'll be naming which section of each district that you can go. You can get a meal taste or local cuisines, and make sure that you carry your family, pick up some food, and make sure that every single mouth in the Virgin Islands is fed and that we leave no one out.
Well, 9th District Representative Vincent Wheatley said that he ensured that the food bank on Virgin Gorda was topped up to feed in-need residents on the sister island. Well, Wheatley, who is also the Minister for Labour, Immigration and Natural Resources, appealed to those in need to reach out to the food bank to get assistance.
I want to acknowledge the Virgin Islands Food Bank that's run by the Methodist Church. I made sure I give them my top up that there should be no one going hungry at all in the BVI during this season here. So if you're out of food and you're in the 9 district on Virgin Islands, check in with the food bank.
Well, meanwhile, Deputy Premier Dr. Natalio Wheatley also revealed some of the plans in place for his 7th district.
Of course, in the 7th district, we have our food pantry. We have been giving away, things like turkeys and hams, and we're going to have food to feed everybody on Christmas Day. In the 7th district, we're going to be feeding persons in Long Loch, in Fairtax Bay, and Brandywine Bay. Because, of course, Mr. Speaker, we have to be our brother's keeper, and we have to do all we can to support those in need.
Well, viewers, the locations for the respective areas across the territory are as follows. Well, in District 1, there are the Benjamin A. Romney Park in West End, the Bandstand Recreation Ground in Capoons Bay, and Sally's Barbecue Pit in Carrot Bay. In the 2nd district, it will be the Wedding Restaurant in Cane Garden Bay and Pinky's Delight on Yost Van Dyke. In the 3rd district, locations are Billy's Superette in Palestina and the lot across from the Boys Gas Station in Seacoast Bay. In the 4th and 5th districts will be the Bandstand in Rotown and the basketball court in Lower Estate. In the 6th district, the locations include Jerome Foy Bar in Bellevue, the Fisherman's Wharf and adjacent to Jamie's Car Wash in Bogus Bay, and the basketball court in Purcell Estate. The 7th district includes Graham's Place in Fat Hogs Bay, the Sticket in Long Loch, and Duck and Dive in Brandywine Bay. But meanwhile, in the 8th district, the 2 locations will be the Watch House in Hope Hill and Harbour View Restaurant in East End, while in the District 9 on Virgin Gorda, the locations will be the North Sound Basketball Court, Grandma's Kitchen in Valley, and Mermaid's Dockside along also in the Valley. On Anigada, the sole location will be the Theodore Faulkner Administration Building. Ron, this is obviously some promising news regarding from the Premier, basically stating that no mouse will be left unfed during this period, and as you can see, through all 9 districts, there are different venues, different areas where persons can basically go to get the necessary items just to ensure that, you're fed on that day, because, we must remember all those persons that are not as fortunate as others during this period of time. And, Christmas is the time for giving, and the Premier has that in mind for the members of his territory.
I do appreciate the Premier and his government really taking the time out to really provide this service to families. It is something that we sometimes take for granted, but I appreciate the effort in making sure that persons have whatever they might need food-wise throughout the season. Viewers, up next, the BVI recently experienced within a 7-day period 3 or more cruise vessels docked in the territory all at once. The first since the resumption of the cruises into the BVI, and Premier Foy welcomes the final adoption of the UN resolution on Virgin Islands Decolonization. We have this and so much more after word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The wait is over! CCT Fire is here! Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire, bring it home and upgrade today.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, the British Virgin Islands over a 7-day period recently experienced 3 or more cruise vessels being berthed in the territory on 2 separate occasions for the first time since the resumption of welcoming cruises to the BVI. Well, according to the Chief Executive Officer of the Cyril B. Romney Tortola Pier Park Limited, Mr. Vance Lewis, there were 4 cruise vessels berthed in the territory on Wednesday, December 15, with 3 docked off Tortola and 1 off the sister island of Virgin Gorda. Well, he said the 3 off Tortola carried just over 3,800 passengers, adding that cruises are still not operating to their maximum capacity due to the COVID-19 protocols presently in place.
Essentially, we have 3,815 passengers for the 3 ships that are on Tortola, I'm not sure of the exact number of passengers from the ship that's moored off Virgin Gorda. We have 2 ships today at the CLB on the Tortola Pier Pack, the dock, and 1 at anchor. The 2 ships at the dock, the Disney Fantasy, and Disney is of course one of our permanent berthing partners, and main ship 2, and then at anchor we have Crystal Serenity. So between them, 3,815 passengers. And of course, even now that we have over 3,000 passengers in on the second 3-ship day in 7 days, the ships are still not fully loaded due to the fact that they've got to socially distance due to COVID. So as a precaution, and we're taking all the relevant precautions in the territory, working within our protocols and along with the CAFA guidelines and the CDC ship sail under the CDC guidelines as well. All ships that come to the territory have fully vaccinated passengers for all passengers that are eligible to be vaccinated.
Well, Lewis also explained that there is no tendering process in place which is used to, that there is a tendering process in place which is used to facilitate vessels which are docked out at sea to ensure that those cruise passengers on board get on land to explore the islands. Well, he said this is often utilized if the cruise pier dock has reached its maximum capacity, which requires all other cruise vessels to dock out at sea.
Essentially, our cruise pier can take 2, it's 1,312 feet long, and it can take 2 of those class of ships, basically, which means the 3rd one must stay at anchor. For the ship that is at anchor, they're going to have to tender in, and we have tendering facilities as well as the main cruise ship dock. For all 3 vessels, we also have the ability to offer marine excursions as well, if they wanted to go to some of the sister islands. And again, the CLB Romney cruise pier and associated facilities offer that as well. And of course, we're going to have our shore expeditions on Tortola that they can take via the local tour agents. And we have independent taxis who can take them on independent tours as well. So there are quite a lot of moving parts for that, and we're going to have vending partners within the facility, the Pier Pack facility, the CLB Romney Tortola Pier Pack facility, and at all the other points of the destinations where cruise passengers might want to go. We want to make sure we offer them an enhanced cruise experience so that they can actually return to the territory, not only on another cruise vessel, but perhaps on a more long-term basis, so they can get to take a little piece of our culture back with them.
Well, CEO Lewis also revealed that this tendering process is also made available for cruise vessels docked off the sister islands.
Once the ship comes into BVI waters, they're cleared by our officials, including our environmental health department. And there is a team comprising many different entities: customs, immigration, environmental health, public health, and ports, of course, which controls all those access, BVI Ports Authority, which control all those access points. And yeah, you can offer off any of the sister islands. You would have been cleared in advance. There's certain protocols which are always adhered, they have to adhere to. And the sister island in question will be one of the main beneficiaries of that as well through the tendering process that I just described.
Well, viewers, the Pier Park Limited boss also said that while there are more 3 cruise ship days slated for the BVI, the plan is never to overcrowd the territory at once, as it affects the overall experience of cruise passengers when a destination becomes overcrowded.
I can't tell you the exact number. I can tell you there are more 3 ship days. To get a good cruise experience, because the cruise experience from the ship's point of view will be what brings them back onto the ship to do a second cruise. So if they have a good cruise experience, then it augurs well for a second cruise, and it also augurs well for the destination that they're visiting, for them to come back, perhaps on a longer term basis as well.
Around a great sighting for the BVI as we continue to welcome more and more cruise ships to the territory.
It has been a beautiful and very positive sight to see all our taxi drivers, the businesses at the Tortola Pier Park and otherwise in the Rotown community being so engaged and so busy with entertaining our guests. Kudos to the BVI Tortola Pier Park, still be around the Tortola Pier Park.
And you mentioned the cruise, taxi vendors and stuff welcoming back passengers. Shall they say when I was at the Pier Park recently, I would have seen a taxi operator just returning some cruise ship passengers to the area, and the way he was smiling, oh my goodness, and it was just such a beautiful sight to see. So I'm assuming that a lot of other persons are welcoming back this feeling, are welcoming back these moments, as it brings a lot back to the economy, especially around this Christmas period where persons could make their family smile with some gifts of their own.
Indeed. Continuing on, viewers, on the local scene, Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Andrew Fahie, has welcomed the final adoption of the United Nations resolution on the question of the British Virgin Islands passed by the UN General Assembly on December 11th at the conclusion of its 76th session. Now, speaking on the adoption of the UN resolution, Premier Fahie said, and I quote, "I am very pleased that the passage of the UN resolution on the Virgin Islands has concluded the final stage with adoption of member states at the General Assembly in New York." He continued by saying the resolution reiterates the view of the international community that the British Virgin Islands has an invaluable right to self-determination, in addition, which should not be impeded. And he said that it's the people of the Virgin Islands who must determine the political future of the territory. Now, viewers, it also confirms, he said, the position of the international community that the constitutional position of the Virgin Islands and its role of the elected government should not be hindered, but rather self-governance and constitutional reforms should be proceeded in a manner that supports achieving greater self-determination. The Premier of the Virgin Islands also took the opportunity to thank the members of the association, members of the Caribbean Community, also known as CARICOM, and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, as well as the member states of the UN Special Committee on Decolonization. Now, for their unwavering support, he said, "I am grateful to CARICOM and the OECS members and the associate members of their staunch support, of course, in order to help the Virgin Islands over the course of this year, especially regarding the Commission of Inquiry for which my administration is seeking," what he said, "a just outcome. I am particularly grateful to the government of Antigua and Barbuda that serves as the chair of CARICOM and the chair of the Alliance of Small Islands States, as well as the government of Grenada that serves as chair of the OECS, and the chair of the UN Special Committee on Decolonization." Premier Fahie added, "It took great courage in order to stand with us internationally, and we are truly grateful to our neighbors. CARICOM can be proud that as a regional body and as a grouping of individual member states, the territories, that it has continued to stand up for democracy, human rights, and due process under the law, which is very important for the continued peace and stability of the Caribbean." Now, the members of the C24 also have unyielding gratitude for their understanding and support. Premier Fahie praised the international team for their robust engagement within the UN system on behalf of the Virgin Islands, stating, and I quote, "I am indeed grateful to my Deputy Premier, Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, and my Special Envoy, Mr. Benito Wheatley, for ensuring the robust representation of the Virgin Islands at each of the international forums within the UN decolonization framework, including the UN Regional Seminar on Decolonization in Dominica, of course, the substantive session in New York, and the UN Fourth Committee on Decolonization meeting, of course, at the 76th session of the General Assembly." Premier Fahie said his government will remain engaged with the UN in terms of our international obligations as one of the 17 remaining territories maintained by the General Assembly on the UN list of non-self-governing territories, who the UN continues to support. Kamal, quite a very pivotal meeting, and we continue to wish our Premier, the Honorable Andrew Fahie, the very best as him and his government continue to maneuver through what I would call very unorthodox, unchanging, very difficult times, but especially as we seek to really look at the issue of self-governance. This is one issue that has continued to come up within the Fahie administration. They have tackled it. They've spoken very candidly about it, and I do think that as residents, we need to consistently look at the overall purpose and idea of self-governance and what that would mean for the territory.
Indeed, and one step closer to self-determination, as the Premier likes to put it. So viewers, up next, 500 plus residents in the East End community benefited from a recent Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Christmas initiative. And Family Support Network receives $5,000 donation from Drake's Traders for counseling. All this when 284 News return.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new season of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. It doesn't always involve suits and, bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. This season, I'm taking you on an entirely different journey, from chefs to dancers, philanthropists, communications specialists, and much more. I'm heading outside in the field to share the journey of some of the BVI's best and brightest men. From East End to West End, Virgin Gada, Jasper Lake, not forgetting Antigata. Our Virgin Islands gentlemen are doing the damn thing, and I'm so proud. Get ready to reason, reflect, and redirect. We are the movers and shakers of this generation, and we ain't afraid to show it. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 3 by yours truly, Ron Grant, raising a generation of greatness.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, you enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come. Yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Over there. You must have cut fun topic.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man forget you.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Well, welcome back, viewers. More than 500 residents recently benefited from a Christmas initiative which was hosted at the East End Police Station by officers of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. Well, according to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, the East End Police Station was the place to be on Tuesday, December 21st, thanks to community and corporate sponsors, which is said wrapped Christmas in a bow for the district. But the police said, and I quote, "Well, over the course of the 7-hour event, well over 500 people came to the station's parking lot. Well, many hearts and stomachs were filled with food and drinks as the Shooting Stars Steel Band, along with the Sergeants Tommy Daniel and Collis Fraser, entertained. Well, children of all ages received Christmas presents, got their faces painted, and played on the bouncy castles," end quote. Ron, obviously this is another community initiative we see here, this time from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force.
Yes.
You know, being able to give back to the community and also being able to somewhat link with the community, because as the new commissioner would have said, you know, the whole purpose is to get the police officers integrated into the respective communities so they know the needs and they know how to better police these areas. So this is another initiative that basically helps to fill that gap, fill that void basically, while at the same time giving back to the children during this period of time, Christmas period, and also those other persons that would have benefited from some food and some festivities basically around this period. And you know, here in the BVI, what I would say is that unlike some other places where we would have seen Antigua recently just stating that there will be a ban on fests and those sort of festive events during the Christmas period, we are fortunate enough to be able to have these sort of events and be able to go out and see family and be able to have somewhat of a good period during this time, while other countries and other Caribbean islands are unfortunately can't enjoy the same level of the level of joy
yes.
that we are experiencing here in the BVI this Christmas. And it goes back to show that the level of work that the government have been doing, the Ministry of Health have been doing, and the people of the territory have been doing it, adhering to the COVID-19 protocols to be able to allow these festivities to occur.
Indeed, and I do want to commend the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and specifically the officers that really take the time out to engage the community in the various districts. That is perhaps one of the single most important ways that we could bridge the gap between the police force and the general public. Now, continuing on, the Family Support Network received its annual seasonal donation from the Drake's Traders Limited, which is typically put towards an outreach activity that is most in need of funds. Now, this year, the $5,000 will be used to provide the counseling that is essential for individuals to move out of the cycle of abuse and onto a trajectory of independence and self-sustenance. Speaking with the management at Drake's Traders, Ms. Jasmine D'Aguilar, treasurer of FSN, explained that while the non-for-profit organization will provide support for individuals and families who are in need, the aim is really to provide stepping stones to move out of the very harmful situations and into leading a life that is free of abuse and fear. She said, and I quote, "There are many reasons why people stay in abusive and unhealthy situations," adding that the majority of people who see those who may not have independent means of living and who are fearful of what will happen to them financially as well as physically if they break the ties and leave the abusive relationship. She said it becomes more difficult when children are involved. Once we are able to place the clients in a safe zone, the counseling is essential to provide them with an understanding of their situation. Now, these sessions build confidence and provide the mental and emotional tools to feel strong and empowered enough to break the cycle and plan for the medium and then, of course, long term. She said, "We are very grateful for Drake's Traders for their generous gifts to our clients." Drake's Traders, a home improvement store in Tortola, which has been serving the community now for over 3 decades, has always been a supporter of the efforts of the Family Support Network. "We live in a close-knit community," she continued. "As a family and as a business, we have always believed in providing a helping hand for those that are in need," said the Christian Esser, the managing director of Drake's Traders. Over the years, she continued saying, "We have established a relationship with the FSN where we are always on standby to offer support and are ready to work with them to achieve their long-term goals. This annual donation is something that we do with hopes that we are providing some relief during a time when spirits are meant to be lifted with a hope of something brighter for the future." Of course, viewers, this year FSN, which serves Tortola and the sister islands of Jos Van Dyke, Virgin Gorda, and Anegada, will have supported between some 250 and 300 households per month. I want you to put that into perspective. 250 to 300 households per month with family sizes ranging from 2 to 12 persons. This is a figure of some 600 to 700 people who receive assistance from this charitable organization. I want to reiterate that again. When you put this figure into perspective, there are some 600 to 700 people who receive assistance from this charitable organization. Our pantry costs alone between $4,000 to $500 per month on top of the food donations that we receive from members in the community. Kamal, I want to put this into perspective because the Family Support Network has been making contributions towards the British Virgin Islands and the abused persons and families for such a long time. And I think for a non-for-profit organization like the Cancer Society, like the BVI Diabetes Association, like Spina Bifida Awareness, people sometimes take for granted what it takes, and of course the Red Cross, people take sometimes for granted what it takes to really put and allow these non-for-profit organizations to run. When you put these figures, 600 to 700 families per month, when you put that to a cost, $4,000 to $500 per month on top of any food donations that they would receive, you sometimes wonder how are these organizations continuing to run. But it is important to note that they can only do that with the community support of businesses and persons like Drake's Traders Limited across the Virgin Islands.
Indeed. Well, viewers, that's it for today's News Roundup. Viewers, this is Christmas Eve. You know, obviously follow us of our daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. Merry Christmas from me. I'm Kamal Haynes, viewers.
Yes, and I'm Ron Grant. It is always an honor and a privilege to be bringing you the latest in local, regional, and international news. We hope you have a beautiful rest of the day, and of course, Merry Christmas from us here at 284 Media.